Yeah. How we doing? How we looking? How we feeling? People, go ahead, come trickle in here. Let me know how you doing, how you be feeling. Once again, a little bit more of an intimate live stream today. Have a lot of team reviews to go through here today. So not a lot, really just 2 team reviews, but a lot of graphics that I need to do. So once again, say what's up if you are here in the chat. And yeah, that's all it is really. Let's have a little bit of fun. And I love how technology is not working today. My my Nightbot is not working here for us today. I'm not necessarily sure why. Let me see if I can figure that. Okay, there we go. That Nightbot took a minute to kind of send that through. I was about to say. But yeah, once again, I'm going to be reviewing some Dynasty teams here today. We have 2 teams we're going to be reviewing today, which means we have up to 4 other spots if you want to get your team reviewed today here as well. So once again, no pressure if you wanted to do that, but once again, drop a like here. It's going to be a little bit more intimate, or it can be really short of a live stream as well, as we're once again just going to be doing some team reviews here. We do have a couple of questions going on here. I see Sean in the chat. What's happening, brother? I see Jacob in the chat here as well. How you guys doing once again as everyone is trickling in here? But let's get into some of these questions here, not waste any more time, as we do have some waiting. 6 Black Cat, or Black Cat. I can kind of see how that works now. They're sending away Jaden Daniels, Tetaroa McMillan, and you're receiving Joe Burrow, Breece Hall, and Marvin Harrison. And I'm okay with this trade. I think this is, if you can get Joe Burrow, who is once again still not in the same tier, right? I have Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels in that tier, and then Joe Burrow, but still a top 5 quarterback here for you. And then Marvin Harrison, who we both have higher. You can see Zach. I think pretty sure these are Zach's rankings. He has his wide receiver 12, wide receiver 17, and getting Breece Hall here as a throw-in essentially. I really like that there as well. And if you guys wanted to get any of your messages answered or questions answered, drop a super message here on the Flock Fantasy site, and we can get to those there as well. But we appreciate you, Black Cat. Let's go to the next question here. All right, Pinky and the Brain. Let me just refresh. Just want to make sure. He got that on the back end, because I know the other day a couple people didn't end up getting that on the back end there, and just want to make sure these guys are all set as well. Okay, I think that's all good. Pinky and the Brain, appreciate you for the trade question, man. He is sending Jahmyr Gibbs and Cedric Tillman and receiving Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, and Drake London. Now, this is interesting here. Based off of, this is 2 quarterback, 12 team start 10. Right off the rip, I will say I am okay with this. I am okay with this trade. But I'm really interested in your team here. So you're the one that's going to be sending away Jahmyr Gibbs, but why? Start 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So your wide receivers is a little bit short, but you receiving Kenneth Walker there is really not making it, like moving it for me, right? I think if we look at that, I think if we go back and look at the trade, receiving Jahmyr Gibbs here on your team, you're going to now have, receiving Kenneth Walker on your team, I feel like it's actually going to hurt your running back room. You have a good running back room with depth. Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, James Cook. I personally would just hold. Now, it is a good trade off of value. You get the handcuff and Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, and I think Drake London there, I guess you can say is an equivalent. You know, Jahmyr Gibbs going in the first round, Drake London, if I'm not mistaken, he went in our startup at the end of the second, or middle of the second, excuse me. I can even pull that up so you guys can have a look at that as well. Just under my Manhattan League that we just did literally yesterday. Let's see. Jahmyr Gibbs at the 2-2, Drake London at the 2-6. So it's actually significantly really fair and even. And you get Kenneth Walker there, who Kenneth Walker fell really low at the 7-8 here. So once again, I am okay with this trade, but you don't necessarily have to do it as well, especially with your team. I'm just going to say that's an even trade there for sure. But what's happening, guys? Once again, a little bit more of an intimate stream. We're going to be answering or doing some live team playbooks here today. And if you guys want to be a part of that, all you have to do is sign up there with our playbook with that link. I'll put that link in the chat. I'll put that link in the chat and that Nightbot there, and I'll give you a nice little spiel. If you want a customized playbook for your team specifically, you'll get a nice, beautiful graphic. All you have to do is use a promo code LAN at sign up. Make sure you choose the Mother Flocker tier. You're gonna go ahead and submit your team, and then you want to slide up. Okay, you want to use that slider and do a live team review here today. We have 4 extra spots for you guys to utilize here today. But I have 2 live reviews I need to do. And then if not, once again, it could be a nice little short, intimate live stream with you guys here. I see Patrick here. We can kind of answer some of these questions before we go into some team reviews. He says, how is Dobbins affecting RJ Harvey's draft stock? Honestly, like, all due respect to J.K. Dobbins, and I know he had a really good little burst of energy there last year, but I think with the draft capital, I think with how they invested in RJ Harvey, and you look at that RB room, you have to look at the Broncos RB room. You tell me who is the veteran running back in that room, and I'll pull that up here in a second, because I don't see anyone in that room that they can look up to. Specifically RJ Harvey, right? I mean, we can even just bring it up here, which I did. I can't believe they already have J.K. Dobbins as the RB1 there on this team on our last. But like, there's no one here that he can lean to and say, hey, how do you handle a workload? How do you figure this, how do you go through these certain things? That's not happening here, right? And not in this backfield. They need J.K. Dobbins as a veteran running back, a veteran presence there. And I think that's exactly why they brought him in. I think he can help RJ Harvey. Is he going to take away opportunities away from him? I don't think so. I still believe RJ Harvey is going to be the guy. A $5 million deal, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really believe that's going to be affecting him. So if you haven't done your rookie drafts and you were hoping to take him at the 108, hypothetically, maybe he falls to the 110. You could probably trade back because people are scared of this. Or maybe he falls to the end of the first at like the 111, 112. We saw him, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it was me or somebody else on our Alpha League took him early. And our Alpha League was early in the offseason. I'll even show you this as well. Let me just double check, because I feel like that Alpha League, he fell into the second. No, he fell to the 111. Okay, so that's a little bit earlier than I expected. But this was 6 days after the NFL draft, right? Really, actually, maybe like 2 or 3 days actually after the NFL draft. And so much has changed when you look at something like this. So I still believe RJ Harvey is going to be the guy. And once again, if you can get value from him, based off of what happened here with J.K. Dobbins, I would be okay. What's happening, Scribbles? How you doing? Sean says, hey, I know you have more drafts coming up, but are you able to explain further on your choice of T as your wide receiver 1 from last night? I love T, but feels more like a wide receiver 2 to me. Appreciate you. Yeah, no, and that's totally fine. And, I just had that team up there. Let me just pull up some stuff, because look, I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but we've had multiple conversations about T. Higgins and his stretch when he's been healthy. That's the biggest caveat here, right, Sean? If T. Higgins, if I tell you right now, Sean, if T. Higgins could play a full 18 games, I think you wouldn't hesitate taking him, even with Jamar Chase being there. Okay, he averaged on a points per game basis 18.5 fantasy points per game. That was wide receiver 5 on fantasy points per game. Now, once again, what is stopping you from drafting T. Higgins? At the moment, it's not Jamar Chase. Why? Because he is still putting up top 5 wide receiver numbers in a points per game basis. Okay, the only caveat that everyone's scared about, and hell, I'm scared, I'm nervous. I even named my team in the Manhattan League the pulled trio, because I drafted 3 guys in reality that are injury prone, and T. Higgins, I guess you could say Brandon Ayuk, and Jalen Waddle. And I'll once again, I'll pull that up here. This is my team. T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk, 2 guys that are coming off injury, I guess you can say. And then obviously Jalen Waddle, who these guys are always pulling something. So I can understand. Now at the same time, we can go to when I took T. Higgins. I feel more confident personally taking T. Higgins over Garrett Wilson. I think 100% there's an argument with Travis Hunter. There's an argument with A.J. Brown. I would comfortably take T. Higgins ahead of Tetaroa McMillan. Other than that, I feel like that was the best bet. Now, if you tell me Rashee Rice was there, I would take Rashee Rice. So hopefully that answers your question there, Sean. I can definitely understand your concern, but once again, ask yourself, if you can guarantee T. Higgins playing a full 18 games in a season, I think everyone would easily take him as high as the 301. Doesn't matter the age, right? It really doesn't. We're taking Drake London there. How old is Drake London, actually? 23, so he's a little bit younger. I was about to say, but I think T. Higgins 26, 25. Yeah. So I think if we can guarantee that, easily we will see him next year in a Dynasty startup, early 3rd. Just really also depends on how everyone else performs. So hopefully that helps there. I've been thinking about that question all night, Sean. Chef says, I sent my team like 6 days ago. I haven't seen anything. I know you guys are busy, but what's the time frame? Chef, what's your name on Flock Fantasy? Because I sent a big batch of stuff yesterday. Definitely have a check. I have to go through. If you're Bird Gang, Chef, we send you a message because we need more information, actually. So let me know what your name is, Chef, on the Flock Fantasy site, because if you are Bird Gang 55, yes, Bird Gang, okay, perfect. So I was actually going to send you a message here today and tell you that we're most likely going to just review your team, but if you can go on the Flock Fantasy on my review tabs, I need your sleeper ID, because I can review your team like this, but if you can give me your sleeper ID, I can give you a significantly more in-depth type of team review. So once again, definitely go have a look at that, and we can review your team here live if you want, Chef. If you just send that to the Flock Fantasy message system. Let's see. It says like, yeah, we sent a message on the 4th. It says, hey man, can you send your sleeper ID through? This will let us see your entire league. And just if you want, because you did purchase a live team review and we want to honor that, send that through. Jacob says, I can see him falling to the 110-201 range. She says, Dobbins could play 18 games. He'd be an RB1. Love Dobbins, but he had a rough go. For sure. I don't know, Trent. I don't know if you were here, but I don't know if you were here. We probably weren't. I mean, if you were OG, when we started our leagues, we also did a home league, and it wasn't drafted live, right? I drafted Cam Akers and J.K. Dobbins, like round 2, round 3, back to back, and both at that year, J.K. Dobbins tore his ACL week 1, and then Cam Akers tore his Achilles. I remember he tore his Achilles like training, and I had no running backs whatsoever. I had nothing, and that was in my home league. So it was a rough go for sure. All right, answer a couple more questions here, and then let's get to some team review. We'll wait to see if Chef is going to submit that, because in reality, you'll be first up here, Chef. And then we can get that team. We can have a look at your team, which would be awesome. It said I never had to get T as my wide receiver one. I've been dying to get his thoughts on that. Right? Okay. It says, who do you think takes the lead in the beginning, Dobbins or Harvey? Yeah, I mean, I spoke about this a little bit earlier. In my opinion, I do believe it's going to be RJ Harvey. Yeah, in my opinion, I do believe it's going to be RJ Harvey. Now, I'm interested to know what Zach thinks. I really don't believe he's going to take opportunities away. Once again, because of the draft capital, this is more of a, we need a veteran presence in the room here. And let me just pull up J.K. Dobbins. I'm interested to see what that Twitter has been going crazy, to be fair. It's a 1 year, $5 million deal, which, look, I think it's a good deal getting J.K. Dobbins, once again, a veteran presence who can bring that mindset to a really young wide receiver room. I think I'm okay. Okay, Chef said he sent it. Okay, which is awesome. All right, so we'll get to Chef's now here. Actually, I have to make a playbook for you. So let me get that all set up first, and then we can go straight into your team review. Because once again, we were waiting on you, and if I didn't hear anything by the end of today, I was just going to review your team with what I had there. So I'm really glad that you are here, which is awesome. All right. 4, 5, 6, and this type in Bird Gang. Yeah, and I know a lot of people are new to the app. We're hopefully trying to create a notification system on our end. So like when you guys send messages or when we send anything, we will receive a notification and you will receive a notification. Just because I know a lot of people aren't necessarily seeing those messages and then saying, hey, where's my team review? I can't find it, etc., etc. Which is totally fair, right? All right, I have to also link your team here on here, so give me a second. Add new team, sleeper, team successfully added, fantasy addicts, I think is your team. Okay, cool. All right, we're gonna get into some team reviews. Once again, I'll do another spiel here. If you guys are here with us, maybe new, if you guys want to get your team reviewed, all you have to do here is sign up, right? You'll get a beautiful graphic here that I actually make personally, customized to your team. Use our promo code LAND on the Flock Fantasy website. Make sure you select the Mother Flocker tier, and then you're gonna link your team, okay? And then you're gonna select team review, and then slide it up so you can get that live team review there with us. But all right, let's get straight into Bird Gangs here. And I'm just gonna pull up your team, which is Fantasy Addicts, I think, right? Is your team. And please jump in at any point in time, Bird Gang, now that you are here with us. That's gonna be really helpful for anything, any context, or anything that you do have or you want to include here. Okay, let's read this context here. He says, just did a startup, just curious on what you guys think. What moves would y'all do? I nuked the tight end position, but got some young guys on my quarter, and my quarterbacks aren't amazing, but I'm happy with Purdy. Thanks, boys. All right, so let's have a look. So interesting how you can't see the... we can't see like the stuff on the back end. So this is a 2 quarterback 10 team start 11. It looks like 2 quarterback 10 team start 11. So that's a classic rolling deep here. Okay, so yeah, send that trade through and then we can have a look at that trade. But let me go through all the admin stuff first, and then we can go from there. And your team name is Gabe. So it looks like you're ranked 4th out of 10 here. And bear with me, guys, because I normally Zach and I kind of split it. I normally do all the back end stuff, and he's kind of talking or reviewing it. But now I kind of have to do both, so it might be a little bit back and forth here. All right, so your team is ranked 4th here, and let's have a look at this team. Rolling deep, which means you can start up to 6 wide receivers in this league, which is pretty significant, I would say. At the quarterback position, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, and Anthony Richardson. I think that's a decent quarterback room going into the season. Anthony Richardson, man, not looking good for that guy, especially with that shoulder injury already. Already saying, oh, we don't have to do surgery. We want to take it slow. Oh boy. At the running back position, Jahmyr Gibbs, Chase Brown, David Montgomery, Bashul Tutin. Looks like he did a rookie draft there as well. DeAndre Swift, Zach Charbonnet, the list goes on there. I think this is a really strong running back room with good depth, right? At the wide receiver position, once again, we like to prioritize wide receivers in the flex position, meaning you can start up to 6 wide receivers. Here's your starting 6: CeeDee, Ladd, JSN, Rashee Rice, Trey Harris, and Kyle Williams. So that's good. You have 4 wide receivers. I feel really confident you can start now, where it kind of drops there with Trey and Kyle. And then Chase Brown, David Montgomery said refresh. I don't think it's going to refresh. Actually, let me just double check. I think it takes a little bit. Oh, this is my team actually. On the Flock League, I need to. So all my teams linked. Oh no, you went from 4th to 7th. Why is that? I wish I saw what you had before. I wish I was paying attention. Jahmyr Gibbs, okay. Brock Purdy, Dak, Gibbs, Browns, Monty, Bashul. Okay, this all is still the same. So who'd you lose here? Was it a tight end? Once again, send that trade through. Send it to me here on you traded Gibbs away. So it looks like you went down, but that trade hasn't actually gone through as of yet. Keeps going to that. Yeah, it's probably not going to show. So you, once again, put that trade in the chat right now as we can, and I can kind of break that down. You see you got Justin Jefferson, but what was the whole trade there? And I see you don't have your first either. Okay, and the Titans, you said you blew it up with Terrence Ferguson is really the only guy that you can start going into the season. I think a big waiver wire pickup here would be Daniel Jones for sure. That's kind of where I would go. Pick him up since you have Anthony Richardson there. I'll put that in the doc. Luke Musgrave, Michael Garner Helms. Okay. All right, let's do some admin here. Okay. I think going off pathway, since you don't have your first, and once again, we don't have those, I don't have those graphics, unfortunately, but we will call that windows open. No reason not to compete, not having your first round pick in the future, unfortunately, which is totally okay. Untouchables. You don't have Jahmyr Gibbs anymore, but you said you have Justin Jefferson. So I'm going to put him as an untouchable. I'm also going to put CeeDee Lamb as an untouchable if he's still on your team, okay? Once again, Chef, please let me know if you put that trade in, because I want to make sure that I have all the right people here. Okay, so he says he back up to 4th. Okay, here we go. It finally went through. And once again, please, you just traded Gibbs straight up for Justin Jefferson. Is that what you did? What's happening, Dub G? How you doing? All right, holds for me would definitely be Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice, Terrence Ferguson. All right. Terrence Ferguson in drops. I think you can drop names like Zach Moss, Andre Yeshivas. You can drop Andre Yeshivas. You can drop, and we'll get to the chalkboard here once I finish all the admin on the back end. That's about it, I think. We could probably put another couple holds here. Let's put Bashul Tutin on that as well as a hold. And then we can also put a name like Trey Harris as a hold to see what's going to be happening with him in the future. With the draft capital, not having your first, but having your 27 first there, I'm going to put that as a B-. And your overall team grade as of today with that move, I actually think that move really hurts you in the running back position. If I'm not mistaken, you went from having the second best running back room to having the 9th worst running back room in a start 10. So that's going to be very interesting there. For me, I will say this team for me is like a B-, B-, B flat. I'll give you a B flat there. I think that trade really hurts, and you did Gibbs in a future first for Justin Jefferson. Okay, wow. All right, let's get all this other stuff settled, and then we can go to the chalkboard as well. So you draft Hall, 2 in Kyle Manungai. I guess we can switch that over now. Yeah, that's very, very tough, I would say. My team's here. So all this can go because we don't have anything, right? Let's just have a look at your team here, and then we can kind of get into all that other stuff. All right. So Bashul Tootin, Kyle Manungai. Oh. Who else do you have here that you drafted? Trey Harris, Kyle Williams, and then Trey Harris, or Terrence Ferguson. Which, once again, not too crazy. I don't think anyone here just makes a huge impact. I think this is a C+ type of draft, personally. I would also, once again, like I mentioned, picking up Daniel Jones. It's not exciting, but with those injuries, I would definitely pick up Daniel Jones right now. I also like the idea of picking up Trevor Etienne, just to see what he's going to do. He's not going to really, you don't have to spend too much fab on him. Let's see who else you have here available. Trevor Etienne. I guess you can add Kendre Miller to that list as well. I know Zach would want Kendre Miller to be picked up, especially with Alvin. And then at the tight end position, I personally like Luke Musgrave. I think he is. I like Tucker Kraft as well. These are all guys that you can consider picking up. These guys are potentially walking into some good opportunity this year. My main priority would probably be Daniel Jones and then Kendre Miller there for your team, right? And then let's look at the trades here, right? Because the trades is kind of what is going to be something that we might, at least in my opinion, we might regret. So you send Gibbs and your 26 first for Justin Jefferson. Now, these guys are going fairly close to each other in a dynasty startup. I mean, we can even go back to our league here. The 2-2 and the 1-5. Like, yeah, they're 7 picks apart, but adding a first to get Justin Jefferson, I guess that's pretty fair. But I just feel like it's a bit of an overpay, especially with the depth that you had at the running back position for your team. You had Jahmyr Gibbs, Chase Brown, and then it just fell off, right, Chef? So that's not something that I would have personally done. Now, you have enough stuff to work here with because this is a rolling deep team. Like, your starting lineup would be Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott here, right? Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, Chase Brown. Then who are you starting at the RB2? I guess not even Jordan Mason. There's no one to start here at the RB2. I guess DeAndre Swift is going to be your RB2 there. right? I'm trying to figure out how he does it. Is it Alt or Shift? Yeah, okay. No, I can't figure out how he does that. Anyways, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott there. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see there as well. Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott is your starting 2. Chase Brown, and I guess now you start DeAndre Swift, that's 4. Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, that's 6. You're going to be starting Terrence Ferguson, 7. And then you have 4 more players you have to start. So you'll start Lamb McConkey, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, Rashee Rice, and then it falls off there. Where before, I probably would have been a little bit more comfortable starting a name like Jahmyr Gibbs, and then slotting someone like a DeAndre Swift in the flex. Now, it's not at the end of the world, right? So I do still believe this team is good. And I personally feel like I would have just kept Jahmyr Gibbs, especially with the state of your team. And this is not a tight end premium, is it? It's a bit frustrating that I can't see all that information on this end here. Let me just double check. Let's see if it's a tight end premium. No, it's not a tight end premium. Okay. Okay, so let's have a look and see what we can potentially do here. I mean, look, my initial thought is how can I get another running back? Because I just love the fact that I have 5 elite wide receivers, and I completely understand that. Like, I think seeing that in a Rollins deep, starting a start 11 is pretty significant. My initial thought is, okay, who can I get to help me at the running back position as an RB2? Now, all these guys you really don't have to go for, but I'm just going to give you my 2 cents, and this is why we do team reviews, because there's so many different opinions on people, which is so awesome. So my initial thought here is just going out and getting a veteran running back, a cheap veteran running back that you don't have to spend a significant amount of money on, right? So can I send my 26-second and get the following players? I think of Alvin Kamara. I think of... Right, can you go out and get a Joe Mixon? Can I go out and get, let me pull up a list of people here so I can do this a little bit better for seconds. Just so that we're on the same page here. These are some names that I instantly think of, right? Alvin Kamara. Can I go out and get a David Montgomery? Just to help the RB2 position. You can even go the route of doing a 26 third and then getting a Isaiah Pacheco. And Chef, I do think he will be solid. The problem is we haven't seen it. The other problem is, I know with the new coaching staff, because I could imagine your instant thought is like, well, you know, new coaching staff coming from the Lions. We saw how they utilize Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. What is that going to look like? That's going to really boost her up DeAndre Swift's workload. But at the same time, I think that's why a guy like Kyle Monangai comes in, and why we always are saying you need to pick this guy up. Someone like a Rashawn Johnson. Rashawn Johnson can easily take over that backfield. The problem is that, like, we do believe there's new life, a little bit of new life for DeAndre Swift, but it can easily be taken away. And let's just say DeAndre Swift is not what we hoped. Who are you starting? I think that's the bigger question, and we're not going to know. But the good thing is that you have DeAndre Swift and Rashawn Johnson and Kyle Monangai. So you have the backfield to the Bears already locked. You don't have to worry about it. But at the same time, what is that production going to look like for those guys? How much are they going to be running the ball? They just drafted a tight end and Luther Burden. Are they going to be more of a pass-happy team with having one of the least running offense in the NFL? there's a lot of questions that you have to ask when you think of some of these things. But that's kind of where my thought process goes. You can do 26 third, and then you can do that for someone like an Aaron Jones. I know you have Jordan Mason already. These are some names that I personally like. Let's see who else you can definitely add on to here. I say this all the time. You can probably do 2/3, 26 thirds for potentially Brian Robinson. Now I would be okay sending a 26 second for Robinson with in hopes that that second is going to be a late second, right? Your second specifically. That's kind of where my instant mind goes to, like my thought goes to, right? I don't want to sell my 26 second to go out and get something. Now you can take an even deeper route. Can I send a 26 third for Javonte Williams? Right? That's probably really it. I don't want to do the Najee Harris. You can even take a route like a 26 third and try Tony Pollard. Now that's still not going to make your running back room significantly better, but at least you have something. Now, other guys that I haven't mentioned as a 26 second, you can also do. I personally would try first 2/3, which I doubt you can get done, but you know your league better. Can I go out and get James Conner for 2/3? And then a 26 second for Trey Benson. Now, he may not help you right here, right now, but this is somebody that could potentially see the field sooner rather than later. That's kind of the route that I see here. I don't think you need to do anything else with a team like this, personally. You already added Daniel Jones, which is significantly better already. I can see that you did that, and we can refresh. And the fact that you picked him up, you don't have to worry about your QB3 now. Let's see who else there. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Let me know if you have any other questions, Chef. I think for me is trying to use your second and or thirds to try and get another veteran running back in this room now that you traded away Justin Jefferson. I love that you have these elite wide receivers and the depth with it. I think that's great. I personally believe that might be a little bit tough to kind of lean into. Now, you could also go the route which we can explore. If I'm assuming you could potentially, I don't think you can squeeze somebody like that. No one's going to do that, actually. My thought was going to, all right, let's sell DeAndre Swift with that second and see what we can get. I don't think you can really get much. Maybe Chuba Hubbard. I don't think anyone will do that trade. But if you can, sure. You know, if you can get something like that done, why not? I really doubt you can do that. I wonder what the Flock fan is. I wonder what Zach's rankings say about that. Everyone hates Swift. Okay, if everyone hates Swift in your league, then that's probably not going to get done. Like I said, that's already stretching it. What about you selling Zach Charbonnet to the Kenneth Walker owner? And another thing is, like, player not rostered. Okay, what am I about to say? Yeah, nah, I would just say maybe best to just hold Swift. Because I was saying you can sell Kenneth Walker to Zach Charbonnet to the Kenneth Walker owner, but there's not going to be anything that I'm going to be excited to get in return. So, Chef, please. I think once again, I don't think you have to do any moves outside of just trying to get your running back. I think your quarterback room is great. Your wide receiver room is great. Your tight end room could definitely use some help. Now let's see if we can utilize something here. Let's see who has some depth at tight end. I mean, I saw this guy down here have I kind of just filtered it through, right? I saw the Mark Andrews and George Kittle. Yeah, I'm just not seeing it. I think potentially picking up maybe some Sam Laporte, David and Njoku. You could probably get David and Njoku. How can we swindle something like Njoku there? The problem is you don't have anyone that we want to sell right now. I don't want to sell Rice. Yeah, I think you might be best holding, because the only way I see you selling or getting a name like the Njokus of the world or the Mark Andrews of the world, I think you're gonna have to pay something that you're not gonna want to give up, right? Like you're not gonna want to give up Rashee Rice and get something like that. You know, send Rashee Rice and DeAndre Swift to get a Mark Andrews, and then you get a lower tier wide receiver back. Like this just doesn't make any sense, right? So I personally would just hold Chef. But please, once again, this is your time to shine. I'll give you the spiel. You should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours on the Flock Fantasy Message System, customized with everything that I drew up here for you today. But please let me know if you have any last minute questions here. I love that you already picked up Daniel Jones off the waiver wire. I think that was pretty significant already. Especially locking up that quarterback room. Other than that, you really don't have to do anything else. Since you picked up Daniel Jones, yeah, you can drop down. And once again, Andre Yeshivas, Zach Moss can go out and get the Kendra Millers or the Trevor Etiennes of the world there. But other than that, man, appreciate you. Says appreciate the boss. He says I just get Maul for Chase back up. That's fine, and that makes sense. That makes so much sense. So don't stress, man. But thank you so much for your support. All right, we're gonna go to the next team playbook here, and let me just go to the next one and make sure this goes through, so you can go back and watch that again. A dub we're going to be reviewing here today. I'm just going to refresh. Go to calculate league data. Please verify league ID and create. Okay, awesome. What I'm also, and by the way, Chef, since you have signed up, I do recommend linking your team, because you can see all this, everything that we're seeing here, you have access to as well. So what I need to do is actually unlink your team from my account, because that's essentially what I did to see your team. I go to my teams. How do I do that again? Oh wait, just X. Delete. Okay. You know, one thing I didn't do yesterday, actually, guys, I didn't see where I was ranked, which I haven't added my the other leagues, and why is this not fixing it? Just want to make sure this is Are you sure you want to delete? Yes. Team deleted successfully. Okay, save. Just want to make sure that that has come off so you can link your team. And I haven't added my my sleeper, my Hatton league, so I'm really interested to see where I was ranked there in that league. But before we go into the next one, if you guys are watching and you guys want your team reviewed and you're saying, hey, how can I get that here? I'll put that link. I'll get the Nightbot to put that link in the chat here for you. All you have to do is this. Sign up with using our promo code LAN. You get a customized playbook that I make personally for you guys. Once again, use our promo code LAN. Select the mother flocker tier, and then you're going to link your team, selecting team reviews and making sure that you slide up using the live team review section, right? And then you should be receiving a playbook within 24 to 48 hours there. All right. This is great. I'm glad that we got Bird Gangs done here. Now a dub, a dub 1289. Let me know if you are here with us. If not, you should be receiving a time code with your team review here. And he says, hey there, I feel like I am maybe on the fringe of contention. I'm looking to potentially trade players for picks, considering I have all of my draft capital for the next few years. What players would be worth going after? I feel like I'm weak. I feel like my weak point is running back, and I am unsure about my tight end room. So this is a 2-quarterback, 8-team start 11 with a 0.5 tight end premium. If I'm not mistaken, start 11 is the same one that we just did for Chef, which is a rolling deep. And this is a rolling deep in a start 8. And your team name is Justin Tugger. You love to see it. And you rank 4th. Gosh, I have to have a little sip of water. Okay, let's have a look at this team here. Once again, an 8-team league. Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Justin Fields. That's a good quarterback room in a super flex league. Having that depth as QB3, I think that's great to have. That's kind of what we emphasize here. At the running back position, Jahmyr Gibbs, Chuba Hubbard, Tony Pollard, Jordan Mason. You get Jordan Blue as well. And a lot of rookie guys, specifically in Brashad Smith with Miles Sanders as a vet. That a nice little flyer. You can start up to 6 wide receivers in this league, and here's your starting 6. Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Tet McMillan, Brandon Ayuk, DK Metcalf, and Trey Harris are your starting 6. But with a lot of high upside guys, and Cooper Kupp, Mooney, that's really only the 2 guys I would consider high upside, with Colston Loveland and Evan Ingram, Brenton Strange, Drake Ferguson. Your tight end room is pretty deep there. And you did mention you feel like your weak point is at running back, and you're unsure of your tight end room. Let me just hit on those 2 points. I think your running back room, sure, is probably a little bit weak at depth when it comes down to it. When you think of, okay, can I rely on Tony Pollard as a flex? But even though having Jahmyr Gibbs and Chuba Hubbard, I think that's fine. Jordan Mason is somebody that Zach likes. I'm not a big Jordan Mason guy, but I know Zach will say this is a pretty decent running back room that you really don't have to worry about. Now, this is a start 8. So I do agree that your room is not the strongest in a start 8. You kind of hoped and wished that you will have a strong room like this. Bijan, Amarion, Travion, Quinshon. My goodness, this guy has so many running backs. Bucky, Jonathan Taylor, Chase Brown, James Cook. I mean, who's available on your waiver wires that you can potentially pick up? I would imagine no one. I like names like Pat Bryant that you can pick up here, which we'll get into. And let's get into that stuff now. Let's do some admin here. Untouchables, Lamar Jackson, Jahmyr Gibbs are going to be your untouchables. Holds, I will put Brandon Ayuk and Brenton Strange there. I would also put names like a Rashad Smith, and I will put a Colston Loveland there as well. Drops, for me, I think you can drop names like Tutu Atwell. And then you can drop Nick Nash. Me personally, I don't see, him coming into his own because of, he signed, if I'm not mistaken, he signed with the Falcons. I'd rather take a shot on the guy like Pat Bryant, which we'll get into now and kind of have a review of your draft haul and who you received here in your rookie draft here. Okay, so you picked up Jaden Blue, which once again, bear with me, guys, as I am doing this solo dolo. So having to do both the back end and the front end with you guys, which I appreciate the patience. Okay, Bashard Smith, Ollie, Phil, Mafa. Mafa there. And then you have Trey Harris with Isaac Tesla. Jalen Lane. I mean, we don't really have to put some of these guys, right? And then you got Colston Loveland and Gunnar Helm. I think you have some some guys that are definitely gonna make some noise for sure. I would say like Colston Loveland is a guy that can make noise. We really believe in Jaden Blue. Brashad Smith can be something, and Trey Harris, of course. So look, these aren't guys that are going to like make or break your team, but guys that you can say, okay, what's going on here? What's this doing? You know, what's doing? And you'll see them get an opportunity. And that's kind of all you kind of hope for, right? A guy that has the opportunity. So when I look at a draft capital like this with the upper tier guys, I think getting Colston Loveland in a team like this, I'm gonna put this as a B-. Once again, nothing too crazy, but guys that I think can definitely make an impact here very, very soon. Having a look at what we can do here at the running back position. And let me add some waiver wire ads for you as well. I think that's kind of one thing I wanted to do before we move. I think Pat Bryant is somebody that you should pick up. I like his situation, I like his opportunity. I like that draft capital. He was a 3rd round wide receiver on a team that really is just wide open, right? Let's see. Kendre Miller is somebody we would pick up there as well. I like Taj Brooks, especially if Chase Brown goes down. You can get a little bit better depth. You don't have to pick up J.K. Dobbins, but if we're wrong, if I'm wrong about J.K. Dobbins and what RJ Harvey is going to be doing, I think he's worth pick up just to wait and see what happens. You don't have to. I would also say Ben Sinnott is somebody I would be picking up here as well on your team. Okay, let's have a look at what we could potentially do here, because I do agree your RB2 is a little bit weak. You do have your draft capital in 2026. I wouldn't be imposed of using that 26 first and trying to go get a higher veteran running back name to kind of help you booster that running back room. You know, my instant thought go straight to like, I kind of want to get out of that tier, so I was going for some of these rookies like a Travion, but this guy has Bijan, Amarion, Travion, Quinshon. I mean, surely we can get a first from this guy, or we can get a running back from this guy. This guy has a crazy quarterback room as well. Look, let's just start there. Let's start at some of these quarterbacks and see what we could potentially get here. At some of these running backs and what we could potentially get. I mean, if once again, we're not opposed to using our 26 first and seeing what type of draft capital or player that we can get. First guy that comes to mind is Travion Henderson. If we can get him locked up, that would be great. I took him in the 4th round there. A 26 first. I would also say Bucky Irving is going to be somebody that we'll be okay with. I'd be okay with doing something like that. 26 first for Devon Achane. Look, and you probably have to add something onto some of these, right? If they don't want to do like a 26 first and you needed to add something else, you know, you can do something small. It's not going to be anything crazy, right? I mean, I guess we can have a look at these teams. I think you should be able to get Travion straight up. I don't think you should get an add-on or do anything. But let's see what the Bucky Irving owner has, and maybe he needs, like, oh, we can get a package. Bucky Irving, Jonathan Taylor, another running back room that feels really good for them. I think that would really help your team, especially in a start 8 or in an 8-man team. Some of these players that we're not going to be utilizing, maybe we can just send away, you know? Like, if it has to get done, right, we can add him, we can do it as throw-ins, and then maybe we get a third back. I think in an 8-man league, you're going to have to pay a little bit more of a premium because of how small it is. I'm happy to do something along those lines, throwing some of these guys. If they're wanting to do names like Isaac Tesla, or Rashad Bateman, I'm okay. I think when it goes to a Cooper Kupp, I'm a little, maybe we'll take Darnell Mooney out and do like Isaac Tesla first. So, once again, doesn't have to be something along these lines. you could potentially, if you just need to throw in somebody, you probably can do that. And I would say that's all interchangeable with any of these players, with the Travions, the Devon Achans there as well. Let's see, Travion. I mean, you can do it for Breece if you wanted to. I wouldn't be opposed for Breece Hall. I don't think Breece Hall is a bad move there. Let's see who has Breece. See what type of deal we could potentially get done. Breece Hall, RJ Harvey, CMC there. I feel like Zach would definitely say CMC, but I'm just not a CMC guy. I don't want to have CMC in my team. If anything, I want to sell him away. I'm going to say this. Just for Zach's sake, if you can do a second for CMC, which I doubt, I would do it. Now, if I can do a second plus Tesla or Mooney, kind of like what we just spoke about, I would do that, but I'm not doing a first. Just be completely transparent. I am not doing a first for CMC. Now, you definitely can if you want to, but I just think you'll be paying too much of a premium for a running back that I believe is on his last leg. I would also do a 26 first for names like Jimmy. We call him Jimmy here. James Cook. That's kind of where I feel really comfortable. And I think you could potentially, you have Chuba Hubbard already. So I'm okay with doing names like this. I'm trying to think of any other moves that you should or can make. Now, a guy that I'll be willing to pivot off of, now you don't have to, would be DK. DK Metcalf. Am I spelling that right? Yeah, DK Metcalf. That's what I forgot. I'm looking at trying to pivot off of DK. Can I pivot and try and tier up some way, somehow, especially with the hype of Aaron Rodgers now officially signing here? Let's see who we could potentially get. Like my mind went straight to like a Rome. Can I send DK and a first to get Rome and something else? And Rome and a running back. Let's see. Of course. I think you can do that actually. Hey. So what if you send DK and a 26 first? 26 first. I think you might have to add something. Plus, or for Travion Henderson. Henderson and Roma Dunze. I think you could potentially get that done. I wonder what the trade calculator, like Zach's trade calculator, says in our community there. This is 2 quarterback. We can use his rankings here. Go to Dynasty. This is a start for full PPR. Let's just see, because maybe. So you send DK and a 26 first. Let's just say that's mid to late for Rome. Travion, like I said, you probably have to add something else, but maybe we can find out what the ad is, because you're robbing them. So that's okay. This is why I had the little space that you might have to add something else. Does that guy need a tight end? And here's George Kittle. Yeah, I mean, this guy's stacked. I mean, this guy doesn't really need anyone, to be fair. Yeah, it might be tough. Unless we switch DK for Ayuk. So, like, we can do Brandon Ayuk here. I think that makes it a little bit, what? Robbing them. In my eyes, I think that's a fair trade, personally. But I guess because it's a late first. Very interesting. maybe I'm just way off of this. Let's see what KTC that says then, because I could be completely off here. So you're gonna send a 26 first for DK, and you get Trey, and then you get Rome. See, I was thinking a little bit more, and then you can, let's just say you add a Cooper Kupp there. That's kind of where my mind instantly went to, but maybe I'm still discombobulated. Look, it's a starting point. It's not perfect, but you know your league better. If you can get this done, why not, right? Another thing you could potentially try. Another thing you could potentially try is, yeah, that's probably about it. Getting one of these wide receivers here, but using DK. I think of a name like Jalen Waddle as well. I feel like you could potentially tear down. A lot of people in the community have DK higher than Waddle. So can I do Waddle? Do I want Waddle and Josh Jacobs? I don't want to. Do I want to pay a first for JJ? I would pay a first for JJ. Once again, it's all about how you value some of these players and how your league views them. I'm not in love with this trade. Jalen. Why am I brain farting? Jalen Waddle. Just feel like there's not enough there, personally. You know, just not in love with that one. Maybe we can add Calvin to that, but maybe I'm tripping about that. But once again, you don't really have to do any of these trades. I'm happy to just pivot with DK, right? If you can do DK for Jalen Waddle, I would do that, especially with the value that's happening right now. I would do the same thing with Brandon Ayuk. All these guys, according to KTC, are ranked lower, if I'm not mistaken. Let's just have a look here. And the only reason why we're using KTC is because a lot of people love to utilize keep trade cut and say, hey, check this trade out. You know, I really like this guy. Okay, so Jalen Waddle, I'll do Chris Olave there. Once again, I feel like you can get pluses. You should be able to get pluses on this. Ricky Pearsall plus something. We can even look at that. We can look at that one. I personally would I still like DJ Moore over DK Metcalf. I think you need to just sell high on the opportunity here. And that's probably where I'm at. Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver 37 in the community, guys. Wide receiver 37. If I can get Brandon Ayuk plus something, that's crazy. Like, you should be able to get pluses all around for some of these guys here. And if you're saying, well, that's not what everyone thinks, it's true. DK Metcalf, according to Zach, wide receiver 25. Let's look at what Ayuk is in his rankings. Wide receiver 23, so he has him higher. Waddle, wide receiver 30, so you can get Waddle plus something. Olave, you should be getting, he has Olave higher than the DK Metcalf, right? Ricky, all these players that I named, you should be getting Ricky plus a little something. So let's have, the last thing I'll do is have a look at some of these teams and see what we could potentially add on to it. I would easily do, especially because you're looking for, look, and it's not amazing, I would do Travis Etienne. We can even do so many different other options here. Let's see, Jalen Waddle. Can I do Jalen Waddle plus Cam Scatterboot? Scatterboo. I would do something along those lines. Let's see if there's anything else that we can add on to this. I like to take a chance on Calvin Ridley, helping your depth there, especially in a start. Can I get Jalen Waddle in a second, a future second? That's kind of where I'm at, 26 seconds. So like I feel really comfortable with all those moves there. Let's have a look at Ayuk. Oh, you have Brandon Ayuk. Duh. Let's do Ricky. And I know you have Brandon Ayuk. For me, I will still take Ricky. You can always trade him away later. But what can we get on top of this? Wow. Can I get Ricky? Can I get Ricky and Joe Mixon? That'll be interesting. Once again, I'm just using what KTC says about these players, okay? Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver 33, DK Metcalf, wide receiver 26. So maybe Joe Mixon is a little bit too high, but I'm happy to add a third if I needed to, right? If that's what gets it done. What else? I thought you can Derrick Henry. I would also put names like David Monty on there as well, on that list, which I really like still. That's probably about it. I mean, I doubt you can do Ricky and Jack Besh or Ricky and Devontae Adams, but we could potentially do something along those lines. All right, and the last one I'll have a look at for you is DJ Moore, who I still like. Okay. This one is probably not going to happen. I doubt you can do, I mean, you could do DJ and Swift. That's a little bit risky. I'm not in love with that one. I'm not in love with that one there. So you know what? I'm just going to keep that guy off. What I'll just do is just DJ Moore, DK Metcalf straight for DJ Moore. But you maybe could potentially sneak in a second or future third if you can. And I would be okay with that there as well. A dub, hey man, appreciate you. You should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours, customized with everything that I drew up here for you today, and a time code with this as well. But thank you so much for the support. Hopefully that is helpful. We got all that other stuff set for you there, and we can go to the next one, which we have one last team review to do here today, which is Cooter. I'm pretty sure is next here, but I'll give you guys a spiel and then I answer some of those questions in the chat. If you guys are here with us, we appreciate you. A little bit of a smaller, intimate reviewing some Dynasty teams here with you. But if you want your team reviewed and get a beautiful graphic that you can see here that I make here personally, all you have to do is sign up using our promo code LAN, as you can see right there. Use our promo code LAN. Make sure you select the Mother Flocker tier. You're going to link your team, select Zach and Badaki, and then you want to use that slider to go right up there, and that's how you can join and sign up here and get a team review. And I'll put that link in the chat here. And I see a couple questions, and once again, Cooter sounds terrible to say. I think it's a little bit inappropriate, low key. You should be up next here with a team review here we'll do for you. But I see a couple questions here in the chat. Jeb says, what's up, Badaki? I hope the solo mission's going well tonight. Hey, appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. I'll see you tomorrow in that Bronx League. I think you're in the Bronx one, right, Jeb? I'm excited for that one. I think you are in the Bronx one because you have like the 5th or 6th pick or 7th pick, I think. Anthony, he says, where do you rank J.K. Dobbins and RJ Harvey now? I said this earlier, Anthony. I personally don't believe he's going to suffer significantly. I think, if anything, this is more of a veteran presence that they bring in to try and help RJ Harvey. When I say a veteran presence to help him, it's just more like who can, and I did this earlier, who is in that backfield that is a veteran that any of those guys can look up to. It's no one. So they got J.K. Dobbins, who is a veteran running back that can help him kind of go through those motions, kind of go through those times when they're struggling, when they're going through injuries or they're going through fumbles or whatever the case may be. Not saying that's going to happen to RJ. I do believe if there's going to be any hurt from this, it's most likely going to hurt Aldrick Estime because that was going to be his reliever. And if RJ Harvey is the RB1 in that backfield, I see a 70-30 type of split. I just see a 70-30 type of split in favor of RJ Harvey. Now, that could potentially change for sure, but as of right now, I don't really see that changing. Now, Zach is not here, but I can show you where Zach has RJ Harvey currently ranked. Which I can show you here. Let's go to running backs, and he probably hasn't done this. Obviously, he's on holiday or vacation. He's RB16. I doubt he has J.K. Dobbins ranked. If I had to guess, if Zach had to move him down, he would probably move him down 2 or 3 spots. I still believe he will take RJ Harvey over CMC. I think there's a conversation that you can then take RJ Harvey or Chuba Hubbard over RJ Harvey, but I would see him moving him to like RB 17, 18. That's about it. I don't really believe that's going to make a big difference. And I don't think he's actually tweeted out, because once again, he's probably been on holiday. He normally likes to stay active when stuff like this happens. But no, he hasn't tweeted that out. So I think it should be totally okay for RJ Harvey personally. But appreciate you guys once again doing some team playbooks. This is the last one. A little bit short. We've been live for an hour right now, which is great. And let's get straight into some the last team playbook here tonight that we have here. And I think it's Cooter. Just gonna call him Cooter. Once again, it just seems really inappropriate just to say that. Okay, let's have a look at this team, and then we can call it after. Okay. This is a 2 quarterback, 10 team start 8. 2 quarterback. Is it 2 quarterback or 1 quarterback? On the back end, it says something different here. Let me just have a look, because I read 1 quarterback. Oh no, 2 quarterback, 10 teams start 8. Okay, wow. So this is a small league here. This is all heavy hitters, which you love to see. And if you guys are new here, and if you're watching this, Cooter, all you have to know is that all heavy hitters is where we want the best of the best at every position. I want top 5 at almost every position if I possibly can. Cooter Champion is your team name, currently ranked 1st out of 10 here. He says, I have the 104 as well for the 2025 draft. I just traded Barkley for the 101 and picked Swap for 27 first. He finished last in our league. Thoughts on the team, draft advice, trade advice. Okay, well, let's have a look at this team here, and let me just copy this really fast and then get this this draft capital sorted for you, because I think that would be pretty significant. So you have some decent draft capital here as well, which is awesome. And you also said you have the 104. Okay. All right, so that is all set here for you. And we'll have a look at this. Appreciate you, Mike. Thanks, brother. I know a lot of, like I said, I know I'm mostly in the background now, so a lot of you guys, even the people that normally watch us, probably saying, oh wait, who's Badaki? Which is totally fine, but I'm still here to hold it down, hold the fort down, but we appreciate you guys. All right, your team, once again, currently ranked 1st out of 10. Who's this guy? Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, Will Levis. I think it's a good quarterback room. You don't really have to do anything there at all. At the running back position, Devon Achane, Alvin Kamara, Tyrone Tracy. It's a good running back. Maybe not. I mean, this is a little bit short on depth, but you do have some good draft capital here, but we'll get to that. At the wide receiver position, it is heavy hitter, so really just 2 running backs you need. Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Brian Thomas, and Rashee Rice. That's a phenomenal running back room in such a small league here with Trey McBride, with Brenton Strange, and David Njoku. I mean, let's just get straight into all the admin stuff. Untouchables, Joe Burrow for sure. Justin Jefferson, Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be untouchable. It's a 0.5 premium. So what I'll do is I'll put Trey McBride there, even though it doesn't really move the needle for us, but with that long-term contract extension, we're going to keep him as an untouchable here for you. Hold, Rashee Rice, I would say, is a hold, and I would also put Trevor Lawrence as a hold. Just, actually, no, let's put Brenton Strange as a hold. Brenton Strange as a hold there. I don't think there's any drops. You can drop Will Shipley, Mac Jones. I guess you can put those guys. I can put those guys. Will Shipley, Mac Jones. You can definitely drop, no question. I think you can drop names like Noah Gray in a league like this. I don't really see how he's going to be anything. And I would also put Will Levis if you really wanted to. Once again, a smaller league, start 10-man league, smaller starting lineup. I think that's totally fine for me and for you to do that. I do believe you are going to be a contender, no question about it. I think you have really great draft capital, and put that as an A. And I'd say your overall team grade is going to be a B. I'll put it as a B. I'll put this at A minus, B plus type of range. But let's just get straight into some of the other stuff that we need to get into, which is draft capital, right? Draft capital is pretty significant, which is awesome in the start 10. And let me just pull up one last thing here, just so we're on the same page. Big board. Okay, awesome. And then we can come here, and then I can bring this to this side. Okay, great. And then obviously you guys can see that you haven't done your draft haul or anything yet, so we don't have to worry about that. All right, at the 101, Ashton Jeanty, there's no doubt you're going to be taking him. I think that's probably another untouchable, is that you're not gonna, you shouldn't really be moving that 101 at all, right? At the 104, there's going to be a lot of names here. Travis Hunter, Tet McMillan. We can also put Travion Henderson. We can also put, that's probably it actually, Travion. And then at the 106, I think that's where it gets a little bit, wider. You can put like the name like the Quinshon Judkins. I would also say Travion could potentially fall there. Quinshon, Judkins. Did I spell that right? Missed the S. Quinshon Judkins. I feel like that's really the only two guys that I want to be taking there. Obviously, we could put Cam Ward, even though you really don't need him in this league. At the 201, which is really the, what's that, in a 10-man league, that's really the one, what's that, the 110, right? All these guys are still in play for you here. Matthew Golden, Emeka Mbuka, and then obviously the tight ends in like Loveland and Warren, which you probably really don't have to. You probably don't really have to do, like, to take. Actually, I would also put RJ Harvey here. Actually, RJ Harvey and Caleb Johnson. What I'll end up doing is putting these tight ends here at the 2, because that's 112. We kind of been seeing them at that turn, especially in our leagues. Caleb Johnson. I'm trying to think if I missed anyone. I think that's about it. That's probably about it there. And I think that's exactly kind of where you want to be. Obviously, you're going to be taking Ashton Jeanty. If you can lead this draft with Ashton Jeanty and Travion Henderson with your wide receiver room, man, that is great. Now, I do believe in a league like this, I want to trade up. I know that sounds crazy, but with a league like this, your wide receiver room is fine. You really don't have to do nothing. Keep in mind, This is where you start only 3 wide receivers total max. You have Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Brian Thomas, and if one of those guys go down, you have Rashee Rice. Now you can get better depth, sure. Maybe with that 203, you can go out and get a Matthew Golden if you really wanted to, right? Or Emeka and Book, or excuse me, 201. Which we can also even put these guys here, right? Matthew Golden, Emeka and Booker. We've seen those guys fall there as well, right? So I think we can also add those guys here. Now, my initial thought is, which is really rare, can I trade up? Trade up. Because you're set. Let's just go through it again. You are set at the tight end position. You are set at the wide receiver position. Your RB2 is probably your weakest. And honestly, we could probably see what we can do at the quarterback position to like send away Trevor Lawrence. And maybe we can also utilize the 106 to see what type of quarterback that we can get. I'm not necessarily sure, but maybe we can start there, right? So let's have a look. So T. Lawrence plus the 106 for what quarterback can we get? What quarterback do we feel comfortable going out and trying to get here? I'm just gonna look at some rankings here, having a look at if it's even possible. Like my instant thought, like, can I get a Bo Nix, or is that too much? Can I get a Caleb or Justin Herbert, or is that too much? I don't think so. Trevor Lawrence in the 106 for one of these guys, I would say that's a pretty fair trade, especially in a smaller league here. Let's just see. Yeah, I think I would say that you can do like, I would say you can do, maybe you should go higher. I'm thinking Bo Nix, but maybe it should be like, I guess Bo Nix and Drake May in my eyes are the same, right? But maybe you can get something back. Let's try this. So these are some names that I want to target. So Bo Nix, Drake May, I would like to target. What other quarterbacks do I like to target? We can target. Let's see what we can do with Jalen Hurts. I feel like Jalen Hurts is a quarterback we could potentially target, especially in a smaller league. And I'll do one more. I think you have Joe. Yeah, right. I think this is the 3 I would like to target. Jalen Hurts, Bo Nix. I think anything lower than that, like the Mahomes, the Calebs, the Justins. I guess we can also put Justin Herbert. Let's just see, right? Let's go with Bo Nix first, shall we? Bo Nix, let's see what he has. Bo Nix, Josh Allen. Oh my gosh, this guy has absolutely nothing. He has the 110 though. So is he going to trade up in this draft to get that? I just don't see that getting done. Now, you can try it. You can try it, but I just don't see that personally getting done. And there wouldn't be anything that I want to add to this trade either, because it doesn't look like you have your 26 picks. Do I want to send Tracy away? Nah. I'm okay. I would say you probably can't get that done. But if you can, once again, you know your league better. Let's try Trevor Lawrence in the 106 for Drake May. And let's see if we can add anything else to that. Yeah, I see. I know that, Mike. I'm just trying to give him as many options as possibly can, seeing what he can potentially utilize. And this is a guy where we want to move up to that 102. Just trying to, you know, booster that room, because I do like Trevor Lawrence. I do like Baker Mayfield, but can we Can we get a bigger heavy hitter? Remember, this is heavy hitter lineup here, right? This is where we want to we want the top of the top, elite of the elite. And he has Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Brian Wright. He has 3 top 5 wide receivers. He already has a top 2 tight end. He's about to get Ashton Genty. He has a top 4 quarterback. Can he get another top 6, top 8 type of quarterback there? And then he gets Ashton Genty and then use that 106, or if he can't, use that 106 with the way I'm going. And this is if you're just okay with, if he's just okay with Devon Achane and Ashton Genty. So let me actually write that as you're watching this. Cooter says this this move will not get you a top or 2. How do I say this? Will not get you I guess another RB weapon outside of Genty. With this move, right? This move, yeah, just this move. This move will not get you. Why is that so confusing? This move. I'm gonna say with this move. English is hard. With this move, you will not get another running back weapon outside of Genty. There we go. That's better. So targeting Drake May, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, that means he's going to be okay having Ashton Genty and Devon Achane with Alvin Kamara as you're watching this, El Cooter. Now, if you don't want to do that and you want to target another running back instead of that, we're going to explore that option as well. Let's go back to Drake May. Which we already had. He had Drake May. This one I'm not in love with. I don't see this being done. But this is the guy that we want to potentially get that 102. So we'll come back to this. So I don't see Drake May actually happening. Because once again, what's the point of adding another? Look, I guess you can get. Yeah, I just don't see that happening. I don't see this one happening, unfortunately. Let's try Jalen Hurts. I think maybe Jalen Hurts is probably only going to be the only guy we might be able to get, because it just feels like the biggest tier up. So then we're probably going to have to owe him a little bit more. So Jane Daniels, Jalen Hurts. And this guy has a 205. So this is good. This is not bad, actually. I'm interested to see what Zach will think about this trade. Which is good, because we can see that. We can pull up the trade calculator. I personally believe that I need to add something else to this trade. I'm just not sure. Yeah, 1 flex, right? 2 running backs, 2 quarterbacks. I'm just not sure what else we're gonna need to add. Maybe it's gonna have to be that 203. So you send Lawrence the 106 for Hurts. So he says you win. So if we're looking at that, we can add the 203. I think that gets it done. I think that potentially could get it done, because that guy doesn't have much capital. He has a 205. So if he can tier up there, or if we can potentially give him. This guy also has Justin Herbert as well. So that's probably the only thing that we can do. All right. I think that's probably the best we can do there. Once again, this move will with this move, you will not get another running back outside of Genty. You don't have to do this, but let's go and trading up to get a running back. I said trading up to get a running back. So once again, using that 106 plus something. Maybe it could be the 106 in the 201. Can I get into the 10? What's happening, Case? If you want to ask a question here, I'll put that link in the chat here. Give me a second. You want to use the super message. Use the super messages. Click on that link. Make sure if you don't have a profile with the promo code LAN, you can do that. It's free to sign up. All you have to do is obviously donate for the question that you want. If you really needed a question and want your team links. So the 106 and the 201, can I get to the 103? I mean, the thing is, I want to secure Omarion Hampton. Now, I don't believe that is enough to secure Omarion Hampton. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be enough to secure Omarion Hampton, because if I could get Ashton Genty and Omarion on this team, that would be crazy. Once again, let's see what Zach thinks. Maybe I'm tripping. We do these things all the time, but in a 10-man, was it 201 he has, right? Let me just double check. Yeah, 201, which is, once again, really the 110 for the 1. Actually, that actually might be fair. That might be fair, actually. Yeah, because keep in mind, this is the 110. So the 106 and the 110, I think that's perfect. And you want to acquire Omarion Hampton. That's probably the only move that I would want to make there, to go out and get a legit proven type of running back, a youthful running back. Now, I don't believe you can get any higher, to be completely honest with you. I don't see how you can get your hands on a Jahmyr Gibbs with this team. I love the idea of Travion Henderson. It doesn't look like you have any picks in 2026. So that's kind of where, this is kind of where I think it's best for you, honestly. So a nice little recap here, Cooter. I think you should draft Ashton Genty, and then at the 104, you go Travion Henderson, and then you can go, you know, let's just say you go Matthew Golden, and then you go, I guess, Emeka Mbuka, right? Or you can go RJ Harvey, you can get another running back, and then Emeka Mbuka to kind of build with you a little bit later. That's still a really solid lineup. You don't have to do this, but I like the idea of getting a superstar at my QB2, and then if not, then you're being okay at the 106, 201 type of range there. But we appreciate you, man. You should be receiving your playbook here within 24 to 48 hours on the Flog Fantasy message system, customized with everything that we drew up here for you today, man. Thank you so much for the support. And that is about it. So let's go to the next one. Let me just refresh. Please tell me a dub went through. Okay, awesome. Oh, we got Matt with a question here. Sorry about that, Matt. I didn't really see that earlier. Hopefully you're still here. If not, you should be getting a time code with this. So you're sending away Zay Flowers, and you get a 26 mid-second and Jack Besh. Wow. Instant reaction. Feels like you could potentially get more for Zay Flowers. I know we're not big Zay Flower believers here, but I do believe that's a pretty significant tear down. I mean, that's 10 spots difference and you're getting the second. I guess you can say this is an even trade, but I don't think you can get, like, you're sending Zay Flowers, so your team would be Jack Besh. This is a start 10. Yeah, look. I think this is an even trade. I'll be okay to taking the risk there with Jack Besh. Appreciate you, Matt. Matt and Bree, all love. All love. Stash, I sent you a message on the back end there. If you are watching this later, I'll give you another day. or no, I think Stash said that he's okay doing his team playbook offline, so we'll do. And then Brizzy, who did submit his team here just about 8 hours ago. We need you to do a donation if you want to. So I'll give you another couple of days, and if not, I will do this offline. But appreciate you guys. We can answer a couple of the questions. I see you guys having some conversations here, which is awesome. Love that. It says still here, installing more bookshelves. You love to see it. That's awesome. Looks like Mike and Voice of Region having a conversation about Drake May, which I love. But throw any last minute questions here. I'll give you until 55, which is in 2 minutes. Yeah, you won't wager it. Nah, jokes. Don't do that. Don't do that stuff. But yeah, appreciate you guys. It's awesome. Tomorrow we have a real Dynasty startup, real money, real league here, and I'll show you that league here actually, the Bronx League. So I had the 104 yesterday, in that league, and in this league, in the Bronx League, I have the 105. So that's going to be very interesting. I'm a little bit like, no one made trades, and I do want to make a trade here. Maybe I'll force something for the lulz, but I definitely want to be on the back end of the board. I am in the back end of the board in some of these drafts. So, and then Queens, I think I have the 112, which once again I'm there, and then in Brooklyn, I actually don't remember where I have Brooklyn. I have the 105 again. So this is kind of why I want to kind of switch it up a little bit and get out of that 105, because I knew I had 2 spots at the 105, and then at the 112 or the 104 is going to be pretty similar outcomes, right? Like if Bo Nix and Drake May are going to be available, I'm probably going to swap it a little bit. But all right, guys, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. It's been all love. I'll see you guys mañana 8:30 Eastern Standard Time with a real Dynasty startup. It's all love.